So this is Eric from IONCINEMA.com, and I'm pleased to speak to Adrian Moyse Dullin, who came to the Sundance Film Festival in 2022 with the right words. But Haut was actually selected for the Cannes Film Festival, one of maybe 10 films to be selected out of maybe 8,000. So the chances, there's better chances of winning the lottery than getting accepted into Cannes with a short film. And you just recently claimed a prize at the prestigious Clermont Film Festival, which is like the Super Bowl of short film festivals. So just congratulations on the route that you've taken, and thank you for partaking in an interview that's in your second language or maybe third language. So merci, thank you very much, Adrian. Like I just mentioned, you were accepted at the Cannes Film Festival, and I think in July it was a really big deal to return to cinema. For you, it's a whole, it was even, I think, even more of a larger experience for you. You're a first-time short filmmaker. And so I just wanted to get, before we go into the gist of the film, I just wanted to get a sense of what that overwhelming experience was like, just like the photo call and just like the procedure of showing your short among the other people that you're competing with.
Well, it was an honor to be part of this competition, because they took great films, so it was an honor to see all of these directors showing their work, and to share their work with them, and to share the work in front of in a very beautiful theater with 2,000 people. It was in great condition, so it was very an amazing experience, a great gift actually for the film, and for everybody who were involved in the film, because we went there with the producer and with the actors, so it was very fun for them too, because they are teenagers. It was their first time in front of a camera, and it was their first time at Cannes, like me. So it was it was a great experience, full of emotion and full of we meet a lot of people. It was very very inspiring, actually.
Great, yeah. And I believe that they show all the short films in the Grand Lumiere Theater, which is like the best of all conditions to watch a film or experience a film. Before we jump into the short, I just wanted to get a sense of your background. I believe you're from a very multicultural landscape of Lyon. You studied philosophy. So how did cinema become a playground for you? And is cinema a sort of a space for you to test some ideas, to test queries that you might have?
Yeah, certainly. The first thing, so yeah, I grew up in the suburbs of Lyon. So I study philosophy, literature, theater, cinema. So it's not just about cinema. I mean, cinema for me, it's very intimate and personal. So it's a way of expressing real life, of transcend it. So at first I make and I look film like in a cathartic way. So I like when authors give something of themselves in their film. If I don't see any sincerity in a film, or I don't think I will like it. So I always try to connect myself to an emotion when I write, an emotion that I'm feeling or I have felt previously, and that I want to share. So it's the point de départ. It's the starting of a project for me. It's from an emotion that I try to build a story. So yeah, for example, in my short, the emotion I wanted to share was shame, desire, and how things are seen in the eyes of other, anxiety about what other people can think about us, anxiety about the judgment we feel from other, anxiety about gender stereotypes, shame, cruelty, bullying, stuff that you can, well, emotion that you can find, I hope that you can find in the film. I also need to be excited in writing the scene of the story of the film. So if I don't feel the excitement about writing the scene, I just stopped the project. So for example, here I was very excited about the last scene of the short, because we were trying we were taking the risk to saying something not by the dialogue but by the images and by the editing of the images. So I was very excited about this scene, about shooting this scene. And the last thing that I can say about your question is that I always try to when I begin a project. Well, it's my first project, but it's not the first script that I write. I always try to ask me the question if it's if there is a political interest about discussing the subject of the film. So maybe it comes from my background. I don't know, but maybe it's come from the philosophical background that I have. But I like to discuss the thesis or the theme of the film in a kind of a political way. But for me, the film has to allow me to explore something about the society, or at least to question the mini society that I explore in the film, that I show in the film. So here, for example, I wanted to question our relationship to other people's opinion, to social media, to cruelty, to ostracization. So, and I was very interested about discussing gender stereotypes with the young generation. Yeah, and with the young actors of the film. So I was so yeah, for me the cinema, it's a great tool to look at this question and to also to create new superheroes, new stereotypes, new archetypes. So and to create also a new mythology. So that's why yeah, that's why it's a great tool, and that's why also casting is political also, because you create new stereotypes also. Of course.
The French title translates into an expression about taking courage, destiny into your own hands. I was wondering if you could discuss the psychology of your protagonist. First, how you built the character, how you charted his own destiny, and how you worked with this young actor.
Yeah. So about the psychology, so he's very romantic. It's a very romantic character. He doesn't know much, but he's quite touching, or I hope he's touching. He dreams about a girl. But he's embarrassed. He feels like he's not good enough for her. So, and the micro society which operates around him on the bus makes him think that he's not good enough for her. He thinks that it is not good enough for her. School is hard for him. He's not very popular. It's a brutal time in his life. So there's bullying, domination of the group, social media law. He takes refuge in his romanticism, and he lives in his life with a cinematic scopic drive. I don't know if you say that in English, but a pulsion scopic kind of. He's looking at the life, but he is not participating to the life. Plus, there is his sister who is bullying him a little bit. So his desire doesn't express itself. He's ashamed of himself, and basically he's ashamed of everything. And so that's for his psychology. And for the with the young actor, we worked So I took my time in finding the lead actor. We did like a kind of 5 or 6 months of casting to find it.
Yeah.
It was very long, not every day, but like we were looking at him like for a long time, because I as well as I wanted to find a brilliant actor, I was looking for a teen who understood this feeling of shame. And one who could understand the loneliness of this main character. So Yasser, the actors who play the main character, has a family history which echoes mine, and which resonated with the character that I had written. So I spent a lot of time with him, not necessarily through repeating or working on the text, but through talking about the character. And we talk about the relationship he has with his sister. We spoke about the family environment, about his fears, about the anxieties of the character, about what he goes through in the film. So we tried together and with also the other actors, we tried to build a coherent understanding of this character, and to give him meaning, and to make it work, basically.
Yeah, to sort of like lay out all the social dynamics and the power structures and the antagonistic forces. I mean, there's it's so layered because of all these different characters. And what's particularly fun about this film, and I mentioned this to you, is that for anybody who's taken a city bus and that passes in front of a high school and picks up all these students, knows how volatile and chaotic this environment is. And so as far as the writing process is concerned, how early in the development of the ideas that you were sort of like percolating or thinking of did the bus factor into it? Because it's such an ideal setting to get so much across. And of course, it's so entertaining on a visual sense as well. So yeah, the city bus.
Yeah, thank you for this question. Yeah, the city bus, it's like, for me, it's a very cinematic space. So I had very early on this idea of a scene that would happen within a restricted time and space from the beginning. So I tried to write very long scene from the last scene. So I tried to write like a 20-25 minutes. At first I had like 40 minutes or 45 minutes, and then I cut it a lot. So it has to happen in a single unit of time, space, and action. So I wanted to have this, and the bus for me was the perfect theater setting to perform the lovers' chase, which takes place on the bus. So it was, it was very. I had this idea very early on.
And you work with the cinematographer Augustin Barbaro, who's done a lot of short films, and now he's starting to work into feature films, some notable items. So yeah, I just wanted to get a sense of the ideas of blocking and just the frame. Like I mentioned before, it's very chaotic. So I think the camera is just like, it demonstrates an immediacy. It demonstrates that every decision that's made by Madi is potentially a fatal one. And so like it amps up that stress, or like, I don't want to say thriller-esque element, but there's like impending stress, you know?
Yeah, you're right. It's a mix of, I don't know if it's thriller, but it's a mix of comedy and thriller. And yes, there is a time lock. So that's why we can think it's kind of a thriller, because we took thriller code also with the camera. But I don't remember who said that, but I think it's Eric Lavallée who theorized the fact that cinema is also an art of space. And I think the most difficult thing in a film is to find the right distance, and it's the most difficult things in filmmaking to add the right distance. So for this film, yes, with Augustin, the director of photography, so we were saying together that the bus is a character. So you have to manage the space in order to feel the organic life of the bus. So the stops, the people that go out, the road, the U-turn, the driver. So we wanted to allow the viewer to experience a spatial journey on this bus. So we wanted to plunge the viewer into the emotion of the lead character, into his viewpoints, into his anxiety of his trip in this closed space. So it's so as you said, we blocked the space during the trip. So I wanted the spectator and the character to feel trapped in the bus. So that's also why we use a long focal length, and we put in a lot of over-the-shoulder shots. And we also put a lot of, I don't know how to say that in English, but amorce. It's when you have the back of someone but out of focus. So we closed the space. So we wanted to confine the character, to show the oppressive space he was trapped inside the bus, and also trapped inside his shame and locked by his sister also. And then at the end, when he goes out of the bus, we liberate the space and we liberate the frame, and we open the frame to show the freedom of the character, and to show how by exiting this space, he was liberating himself from the look and from the oppression of how he's seen by others. So the space open up and the shots do as well. And at this time of the film, you hope it's cathartic and it's emotional. You want to feel the liberation of the main character. So we try to give that.
As a viewer, you're totally invested, and you're just like you're totally invested in his in that pivotal scene. And so I'll end with this question. So there is a sort of like epic showdown. There's a confrontation between genders. I think what you do here is give a refreshing twist to the female's double moment of empowerment. So the character of Jada, essentially, she's very aware of the social media machine. She's aware of her surroundings. She's aware of Mehdi's gesture, a hyper flattering one. I would even say that she's a lot more emotionally mature than he is. And I love what you do with this character in terms of how she owns the narrative. She doesn't become the narrative, she owns the narrative. And I think this is the genius of the denouement. I think this is the genius of the short. I was wondering if you discussed those particular mechanics of that scene, which says so much about girlhood, says so much about empowerment, says so much about doing away with conventions in a way.
Wow, thank you. Thank you for this. Well, yeah, there is few points in your question. So maybe I can start with the mechanic maybe of the scene. So I wanted to create a dramatic irony, create a gap between what the viewer sees and what really happens on the streets, and what people think they see on social media and on the bus. So I wanted to have different viewpoints, different reality, different level of reality. So it was also a way of talking about social media. The question, it questioned the reality of the image that we see on social media. And so the sequence is basically saying, sometimes it's fake, sometimes images are fake. And so it's also a sequence of an emotional back and forth. One declaration succeeds and the other one fails. So yeah, that was the first answer. And then for the second point that you mentioned about the girl empowerment. So yeah, it was very exciting I was very exciting about that, because I wasn't sure it will work, because it's all about editing. but the character of Jada, so the girl that Maddie likes, she's blocked and she's trapped in the front of the bus, so everybody's seeing her. So she's being looked. She feels that she has to manipulate the reality, and the camera and the camera which look at her in order to possess her image. So instead of suffering and being a victim and the object of the social media, she becomes like a kind of a participant in it. So she's proactive. She diverts the sense of the image people saw, and but she also says to Maddie that she's free and she won't be an object. So she's so yeah, you're right. It's kind of an empowerment moment for her, and we were very excited about shooting this scene because it was a little bit like a rock and roll scene, because she's doing this in the on the bus, so it was very funny. Plus, the other thing is that in the bus there is another love scene who take place secretly between the two girls.
Yeah.
So because Aisha, she declares her love to her friend.
Yeah.
So she does a coming out, a kind of coming out. She feels inspired by Maddie and by Jada also. So, and by the bravery of what's going on
outside the bus.
Outside the bus. So for her, it's a mirror. She said to herself that she has to try her luck as well, and she has to be honest about what she feels. So yeah, we were also very excited about shooting this scene also.
And hence the reason why the title of this film is eloquent and meaningful, and just wraps up those two exhibitions of putting your power in your hands. We'll wrap up with you're currently working on a feature-length project. I just wanted to get a sense of what are some ideas that you're curious about and exploring. You probably have a couple, but I imagine that the emphasis is more on one. So without divulging too much, what are you looking to examine further?
Thank you for this question also. Well, I don't know which project that I will shoot now, because I'm working on few projects, on a short film and a feature film also. So I don't know which one I will do. And plus, I wrote before this film a few stories, so maybe I will shoot it. I will shoot it also. I don't know. But the thing that I'm sure is that I love the characters that I work with in the right words. I'm still writing story with them, so there might be a follow-up story with these characters. Maybe not. I don't know. But concerning the theme and the topic, I love to explore shame, as I said, like gender stereotypes, also virilism, social class, also micro society opinion in a closed space, traumatism. Also, I'm very interested about consequence of trauma. Especially with the teenager, and I also really want to explore shame, but in the family unit, and so I'm writing some stuff about some stories about, well, a story about the shame, but in family, about taboo. I don't know if you said taboo in English.
Yeah, absolutely.
So yeah, so the only thing that I can say is that I'm very excited about the idea of shooting my next film, but I don't know which one it will be for the moment.
And just to get a sense of, you know, obviously you're inspired by ideas, and you put like, what is a normal workday look for you in terms of writing? Like, especially if you're working on multiple projects at the same time, do Do you just go from one to another, or when inspiration pushes you in one direction, like how does the writing process look like for you?
Yeah, it's a good question. It depends. Yeah, sometimes I do write for 4 hours on one project, then I move to another one for 4 hours. But I don't like to write the two different projects in the same day. So normally I do like 1 week with a project, then I move to another one. But I need to write a lot because I want to feel the necessity in a project. So I want to see which one resists to the time and which one resists to my desire, and which one I like to discuss about, and which one as I said, which one I like to discuss about the political question of the project, the philosophical question that I ask myself when I write it, and I like to multitask.
I hear you.
With one project, I like to ask myself a different question from sociology or philosophy or politics question. So I read a lot of a book concerning the thematic of the project when I write. Not necessarily like the scenario and the script. I also like to think about question of the film and stuff like that.
Interesting. Hey, this is Eric from IONCINEMA.com. If you want to support us, subscribe below. For more reviews, interviews, film festival coverage from Sundance, Cannes, Toronto, you want to check out these guys on this side.